Title: The Rules of Hellman's Manor. Rachel Carter was the top real estate agent in Black Hollow, a small town with a history that whispered through the cracks of its ancient buildings. She prided herself on selling homes that others couldn't, finding charm in decay and potential in despair. So, when an anonymous client contacted her to list Hellman's Manor, she saw it as an opportunity she couldn't pass up. The manor was infamous, a looming Victorian estate that had stood abandoned for nearly a century, perched on the edge of Black Hollow's misty woods. Legends swirled around it like the constant fog that shrouded the property. Stories of disappearances, strange noises, and shadows moving where none should be. But Rachel wasn't superstitious. She believed in market value, not ghost stories. Meeting with the client was strange. A tall, gaunt man in a dark suit handed her a contract thicker than any she had ever seen. He introduced himself simply as Mr. Graves. "Read carefully before you sign," he said, voice like rust scraping against steel. Rachel skimmed it. Most of it was standard legal jargon, until she reached the last page. The rules of Hellman's Manor. Do not enter the manor after sunset. Do not remove anything from the property. If you hear whispering, do not respond. If the mirrors show something that isn't you, do not acknowledge it. The house chooses who stays. If it wants you, you will know. Rachel let out a dry chuckle. This is a joke, right? Mr. Graves did not smile. If you want to sell Hellman's Manor, you must follow the rules. Break them, and you will regret it. Rachel, ever the skeptic, signed the contract. The first day at the manor was uneventful. The house was eerily beautiful in its disrepair, towering turrets, intricate carvings on the walls, and chandeliers coated in cobwebs. Rachel spent hours taking pictures, noting areas in need of renovation, and listing features that might attract a buyer. She lost track of time. When she glanced at her watch, her stomach twisted. It was already past sunset. The golden hue of the afternoon had faded into deep indigo, the house groaning as if it knew she had stayed too long. Something shuffled upstairs. Rachel froze, gripping her flashlight. Rats, she thought, just rats. Then came the whispering. A soft, distant murmur like 100 voices speaking at once, but just beyond comprehension. It slithered down the halls, creeping closer. She bolted for the door. It wouldn't budge. The whispers grew louder, urgent, hungry. Then silence. Rachel turned, heart hammering. A mirror stood at the end of the hallway. In its reflection, she saw herself, but something was wrong. Her reflection's mouth was moving, whispering the words she couldn't hear. The Rachel in the mirror smiled. The real Rachel did not. Over the following days, Rachel tried to shake the experience, chalking it up to exhaustion. But the house wouldn't let her go so easily. Doors locked themselves. Furniture moved. Her reflection watched her when she wasn't looking, and at night the whispers returned, curling through the walls like smoke. She stopped looking in mirrors altogether. The townsfolk avoided her when she asked about the manor. Finally, an old woman at the cafe broke the silence. "No one sells Hellman's Manor," she said. "It sells you." Rachel scoffed, but the words gnawed at her. When she tried to terminate the contract, Mr. Graves appeared at her office. His black eyes filled with something ancient and patient. "The house has made its choice." Rachel didn't believe him, not until she tried to leave Black Hollow that night, only to find herself waking up at the manor's doorstep, no memory of how she got there. Rachel tried one last thing. She lured potential buyers to the house, desperate to pass it on. But none stayed past sunset. The house didn't want them. It wanted her. One night, as the whispers closed in and her reflection beckoned from the mirror, Rachel finally understood. She was never meant to sell the house. She was meant to become part of it. The next morning, Hellman's Manor was listed again. A new real estate agent stood outside, contract in hand, staring up at the towering house. Rachel watched from the window and smiled.